जी का खालसा
Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh. Welcome to another session of Coach Gurbani. Ravinder Singh here, joining you from Columbus. Today we will be focusing on the 7th Pauri of Japji Sahib. So let's begin with a reading. And I will try and quickly get this wrapped up. So here we go. Je jug chare arja, hor dasuni hoye, nawa khanda vich jaaniye, naal chale sab koye. चंगा नाव रखाए कै जिस कीरत जग ले जे तिस नदर न आवई तवात न पुछै के कीटा अंदर कीट कर दोषी दोस्त रे नानक निर्गुण गुण करे गुणवंत्या गुण दे तेहा कोय न सुजई जे तिस गुण कोय करे. So very quickly, it seems to me here that Guru Nanak is following the theme that he initiated in the first Pauri, where he began to highlight some of the practices around him and his emphasis on the fact that no amount of external practice, if not accompanied by an inner awareness of the self or the hukum, is effective. It doesn't really amount to anything. You can continue to wash your body, but your mind will not be cleansed. And then he's also emphasizing the futility of trying to describe this reality. We see that in the third Pauri, Gave ko tan, Katna Gati na ave thot. And then he talks in the fourth and fifth Pauris, he's talking about karam, the idea of grace, as being a necessary component in this discovery. And then in the sixth Pauri, of course, he touches again on pilgrimages and so on, and then talks about Amrit Vela also somewhere in there. So what I see is a theme emerging here, where existing practices, which are all external rites and rituals, are being addressed because that's what people know and that's what people are doing. And the seventh Pauri here, he is, it seems to me, specifically addressing the yogis because they were the ones who were really developing themselves in a way that would enable them to live forever. That's why he goes, if you were to live for 4 ages or even longer than that, and reputation, even if you were known in the 9 regions and celebrated by one and all, with a great reputation, Changa Nao Rakhai Ke, praised by the whole world. But again, he goes, Jetis Nadar Na Ave, without your grace, all this would be for naught. And then he goes on to say, Kita Andar Kitakar. So he actually compares the individual with a worm as a parasite, a sinner. I mean, some pretty strong words here. So I think we may want to speak to, the central message here in the first 7 Pauris, that it's really hukum that we have to live in accord with, and that is the only way that we could become a satyara, which is to actually recognize and let hukum shine through your true authentic self. That, I think, is the setting for today's discussion. So with that said, let me go to Ekungarji. Do you want to kick it off?
Sure. I love the word nadara, and I love looking at all the ways it shows up in Japji. And for me, nadara has to do with the divine gaze, that we've got to be able to see God, and we've got to be able to know that God is seeing us at the same time. Like, it's about perception. It's about getting out of the conceptual experience and into an experience, like a visceral experience, that there is a higher consciousness that sees me, that I see. And in that, when we're looking at each other, that's how grace can come in, because I'm being beheld by the one who can see me perfectly and knows what what I need and what needs to happen. And that the purpose of life is really to have that experience. And so we do get caught up in these other games, you know, wanting to extend our life or be famous or have a good reputation, and that none of those things is the fulfillment of the human life. It is that capacity of the human consciousness to have that direct perception, which fulfills the human existence. So that's all I have to say.
Okay, thank you.
Today I will discuss my understanding about the Pauri number 7. In Pauri number 6, the concept was Tirthnama. These Tirths are all associated with yogis because yogis are associated with Shiv. And it is a myth that Shiv bring the Ganges to this earth or Pavsagar. So all these Tirths are on the banks of the river Ganges. Guru Nanak is further extending this, that Je Jugachare Arja Hor the Suni Hoy. Now this concept is coming from action of Recha, Kumbhak and Purak, which is inhaling, exhaling and holding the breath. Guru Nanak has himself condemned that. He says, Recha, Kumbhak, Purak, Man Hathi, Pakhand Taram, Preet Nahi Harsyo, Gur Shabad Maha Raspaya. That Bhagats are very different to the yogis. If you see, there is much more domination of the methodology of the yogis, even in the Sikh faith. Then he says, there is no one who has lived for 4 yugs, except for one mythical character known as Markande, for which Namdev ji has indicated Markande te Kodikai, that he is commenting that no one else, they have lived, he has lived for 4 yugs. That's what they believe is. So Guru Nanak says, all right, if someone lives for that long, even 10 times longer, and everyone knows about him, the Deep Sapsagar Navkand Char Veda Das Asht Purana, Gurvani has an indication of 7 islands, 7 oceans, 9 continents, 4 Veds, and 18 Purans. Har Savna Vishnu Vartada, Har Savna Pana. And it's actually the Parameshwar who is playing the game in all this. Everyone is within his control. I'd like to emphasize on the word Jas and Kirt. Kirt is an action done when you only know about, or you haven't seen him. But Jas is an action which you do after you have seen it. To understand Gurbani and sing the praises of your Mool or Ram is Kirti, once you are in oneness, then you do the Jas of Vagru. This is the main difference. But Gayanda has done the Jas. Before that, you have to do the Kirti. Jeti Sanadarnavai. Why we have to say that? Because Har Sabna Vishnu Vartana Har Sabna Pana. Actually, it is the Hari who is being operating the whole system. If you want to identify yourself as a spiritual being, which the word Vat is indicating, that Vat is more in sense of an identification. The identification of that oneness, that how to identify that one within you, Ikvat. Kita andar Kit, very doshi dostari, can be made a worm within a worm, which is almost invisible. So this is a sort of demerit in the next reincarnations. Nanak nirguni gun kare. That was the purpose. Firstly, you leave your nirgun. Tragun maya mohu bhyappe. This nirgun avastha has been related to the tragun avastha. You have to leave those nirguns away, and turiya gun hai gurmukh lahya. The gurmukh is looking for that turiya pad. That is the real gun, in which you are Ajuni, you are Nirpo, you are Nirvair. These are all those single guns. Teha koi na sujje, jetis gun koi kare. The biggest gun which we have heard in Rahraj, discussed by Nanak ji, is now mare na hove so, denda rahe na chukke ko, gune ho or nahi koi. That there is no one equivalent to him. That's why he has to say, Nanak nirgun gun kare, gunvantya gun de. Teha koi na sujje. Our purpose was, as Guru Nanak has done himself, he has put Guru Angad into that category, that he has attained the guns, he has left those nirguns. And then further, Parmeshwar will give the gun to those gunvantya. So this is the whole purpose of Gurbani, this is the whole purpose of Ved. So we attain guns, and then further, then Parmeshwar will give us the Turiyapan, asking for a bigger age or showing people that I have a longer age does not mean that you are liberated. The liberation comes from guns. If you haven't attained the guns, you are not liberated. So I finish my vichar here. Vaheguru Ji ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji ki Fateh.
Thank you, Gurjeet Singh Ji, for that exposition. We have Jasbir Singh Ji from Florida. Would you want to share with us your take on this Pauri, as well as, we are trying to establish some sort of a theme running through the first six.
Okay, Ji. Bhai Khalsa, Bhai Fateh.
Fateh Ji.
I missed you 3-4 weeks. I was in Pakistan,
Hanji.
going through our heritage immersion tour. We have a group of 24 people. So now we are back today. About this body, I see it more simply that one side is the worldly fame, which is to satisfy our ego only. How long you may live, so many people may join you, know you, it's all boost your ego. But the spiritual experience is totally different. And the joy and the bliss of the spiritual experience is so superior. I mean, the worldly fame is no match to this spiritual experience, and that is only obtained through the grace of God. Another, that's all I see here, and that then God's greatness, Vaheguru's greatness, is beyond any comparison. So that's how I see that. Simply.
Thank you. So I'm coming to Satinder Singh Ji, but I do have a question because Jasbir Ji mentioned the fact that this is really talking about worldly fame, which satisfies the ego, whereas the spiritual experience is another kind of experience and relies on grace. So what I want to throw out there for all of you is, so is the pursuit of worldly fame, riches, what have you, is that incompatible with the pursuit of quote unquote spirituality, or do they go hand in hand? So I just want to put this out there for all of you to consider. Hanji Satinder Ji.
I am saying from this perspective that Je Jug Chare Aaj, I mean, they are, to my mind, are considering what are the basic desires of a normal person, that a person normally wants to have a long life. So Guru Sahib is saying, even if you have longer to longer, means Jug Chare, Char Jug equivalent to your life, even multiply with 10, 40 times. Even if you are, the second desire of the person is that he should be well known, renowned person. His name should be known to everyone. Even if you know to everyone and your name is renowned everywhere. And you are known everywhere. But still, still if the Lord does not bless you with his grace, then who cares? Who is the use? It means that even if you are having all kind of things with you, but without the grace of God, your identity, your values are meaningless. But I'll still like to understand the next line. But still, next line is says Nanak nirgun gun kare. But if we go to his sharan, then the Nanak will give us all all qualities, all virtues, and bestow all virtue on virtuous person. It means he give us all his blessings to us in case if we good Guru Sahib's sharan. But which I like to understand now, where I am trying to seeing from various sides, is that Kita andar Kit ka dosi dos dhare. I could not understand what is exactly the meaning of this situation. If any, help me to understand that. I'll be grateful for that reason.
Hanji,
Thank
you, Ji. Okay, interesting. So Ranaveer ji is up next, but before I hand it over to him, again, are these incompatible things? Is the pursuit of worldly things incompatible with the pursuit of spiritual things, or is this just a distinction we've made? Second, Satinder, I think BG said that without grace, who cares, if I'm not mistaken. So the other point I want to make, and I want you to address, is how do you know that you are graced? What are the characteristics of being graced, or are there any? How does one feel this? So with that said, on to Ranaveer ji. Anji Ranaveer ji.
Hanji, can you hear me?
Hanji.
You posed very deep questions. In the end, you just said a few questions here. That whatever we do, is it without another? The question of another has come up. My take, actually, line by line, meaning everybody has done it, and that's also my understanding. Although, as we started out, we said that Guru Nanak Sahib is talking about or giving this type of sermon to yogis who are engaged in that type of practices, Yukcharya, Arza, they wanted to live longer and all that. I think this message is not only for yogis, it's for the common person too. As somebody just mentioned, I think the speaker before me,
Hanji, Satinder Singh.
Hanji, उन्होंने जिसे क्या कि people desire to live long and all that. It's not that we have to live for yugs and all that. Guru Sahib is referring to all this type of things. But then the question of another comes in, and that is where the whole dilemma is. And that the point I have been debating many times about another. Is it we are just waiting for the another? And who's another? When we go into Gurbani further deep, because we have done a lot of Shabad before too, another is of Akal Purkh, another is of a Guru, because we don't have in direct contact with Akal Purkh. It is always through Guru. Guru could be divine wisdom, or Guru could be, I don't know, can we say a spiritual leader? I don't know. But Gurbani is saying repeatedly that another has to come after Guru. Guru is going to give you Naam. Guru is going to make you understand Gurbani and all that. So my question here is, although it appears the reference here is to Akal Purkh, but is it the way we think that another has to come from Akal Purkh, or it has to come from the Guru? And then the last line, Nanak nirgun gun kare gunvantyan gurde. Again, the issue comes that the people who do not have divine qualities to become Satyara, and if there is another, now another becomes so important, the grace becomes so important. So how do we get that grace? The question, I think we have said many times that we have to align ourselves with Hukam. But Hukam na kiha jai, we don't understand the depth, the vastness of Hukam. So it of course, it raises a lot of questions. If we don't understand what Hukam is all about, how can we live, as you said, that Hukam should shine through us. And I sit back and look at Hukam, and I think, and I mentioned yesterday night, I was thinking, that there's a universal hukam which applies to everything in the world, everything in the universe. And then there's another internal hukam. Internal hukam is what Lekha did. First, in the first Pauri, I think you translated, you translated in the very first Pauri, Soche Sochna Hovi, I think in which we are born with an encryption of Lekha, or the destiny, I call it. That is hukam too. So the question comes, do we really need another for everything, or another is only needed? I don't know. It's still not very clear in my mind. So I'll just leave it there. I'm just pondering on the question.
I appreciate, much appreciated, because this is probably a struggle that a lot of us have with a lot of the ideas. I want to kind of bring it out a little bit more based on what you said. So is Nadar an event, or is it a process that begins when you engage with the Guru? And as to whose Nadar is it is a good question. Or is Nadar, does it go hand in hand with something else? I'm just trying to bring this out there. We've run through our first round, so I'm going to go back to Ekunkarji, because I think that's where we went first. So Ekunkar, you've heard the discussion. I've tried to bring out a few points that I need sort of clarity myself. And we've had some opinions about Nadar and the fact of whether worldly pursuits are incompatible with spiritual pursuits. So do you have any say on that?
Well, I think that it's worthwhile to look at how Nadara comes up in other places in Japji. And I'm not that good of a scholar to just do this off the top of my head, but I'll try. There's the other line, let's see, what is it? It's Nadari Kardami Dot, like that both of these things are your gift. That whether you get that experience of grace or you have to go through the play of karma, it's both a gift of the divine, like whether you get it or not. And that's one thing I love about Guru Nanak's writing is I think in a lot of his writing, he says the ripe and the unripe are both there on the earth. So, don't worry about it, because it's still, if you're still enslaved and you're still in karma, it's still a gift of the creator. And then there's this thing that happens when we awaken, and it's kind of like waking up to a different expression of human consciousness, which is, the nadara, or the higher frequency. And then there's the line, such kar karta veka nadara nahal. And this idea that the nadara comes from such kand, that it's there, that when we have the experience of nadara, we're penetrating through all the different layers of reality and just coming to that place of pure truth and authentic presence with the divine. So I have no idea if what I'm saying is helping the issue or confusing it further, but that's what I have to say.
No, I think it's all good. It's all good. Thank you for the insights. So Satinder Singh ji, I believe you want to chime in.
I'm seeing this, as you rightly said, the word Nadar. To Nadar stand for that we want to be associated, attached with just this Nadar na aave. How can we come under his blessings? That is by way of, if we are humble. And second is the two things which I have read earlier, that is the preet. In case if we preet, the two things, we are in Gras Jivan. So to have a Simran, to have a Bhakti, to have a Tap, Bhakti and Taps are totally different things, and it requires a lot of meditations and separate thing altogether. Since we are Grasti Jivan, how can we come to the Nadar of that? Why, Guruji? For that cut, to my mind, the shortcut method is Preet. To have a Preet with Vai Guruji, and by having that thing, we can have his blessings in a shorter forms, in a shortcut method. That's what I am thinking in that way. So Please, that's my view on this issue.
Okay, so I
Thank
have a
you.
question for you. You talk about a Garast must have preet with Vaiguruji. How do you have preet with
Yeah.
something that you know nothing about? What are you
Very
having
good
preet
question.
with? I mean, how do
Yeah,
you,
very good. Very good.
yeah.
Yes, yes.
How
It
do
took
you,
number of years to understand. It took number of years to understand what you are saying me now. That faith is one-way traffic altogether. It stands for that I should have a blind faith. There is no if. If any time if comes, then you are totally vanished.
blind
So
faith
your
about
faith
what?
will come. Blind faith stands for that your guru is samrat. Your guru will take care of it. Your guru is all things are with him. If you have that kind of faith, it's not a blind, I must say faith. If your faith is strong, 100%. See, I love a particular person. Why I love it? I know that person is a very sweet person. That person personality is excellent person. That person gel with me in a good way. So when I
Okay,
understand
so,
these basic
but
things,
then,
then I
at the
start
same
loving that
time,
person.
but at the same
Yeah.
time, they're saying, bin apa chini mite na man ki kai. We're also being asked to sort of obtain, divine wisdom from the guru all the time, right? So that is not
Yes.
blind faith, because there are places in Bani that I can't off the top of my head quote, where we are being asked to Akli Sahib Saviye. That runs counter to faith as far as I can tell. But thank you for the input. I want to carry this line of argument forward and see what others have to say. Is Gurdeep Singh ji here? Is he willing to talk?
I think he's not joining today.
He's not joining today. Okay. So let's see. Jasbir Singh ji, do you want to comment on what the exchange that I just had with Satinder Veer ji?
Yes. Going back to the basic question, the compatibility of worldly power or worldliness and spirituality, definitely they have to go hand in hand. Question is the emphasis you place on each. Now, to live long life, to know all, to be known in all those worlds, it requires tremendous effort. People have created wars to conquer over the countries, to be known to them at the cost of so much of human life. But Guru Nanak says that if you focus yourself on your spiritual upliftment, all those worldly gains will come to you automatically. That's what he means from Nirguna Gun Kare Gunvantante. Because once you are a spiritual being, all those desires of your ego satisfaction.
So let me just stop you here for a second. Let me just stop you from here for a second. So you are talking about emphasis. They go hand in hand, but the emphasis should be on spiritual things. And then you said that if
I'm not. Well, okay.
You used the word emphasis, right? You said the emphasis should be on the spiritual, and then you also said that if you focus on the spiritual, then all else will be brought to you or added to you, right? That's what you're saying.
Yeah.
But how do you know what are these spiritual things that you're doing? Things. I mean, what are these things?
Well, all getting attached to Guru and meditating and focusing on Naam.
So meditating is spiritual. We just did the first Pauri where he's saying chuppe chuppe na hovei. He's already addressing that. So how do you reconcile meditation with what he's saying in the first Pauri?
No, you misunderstood about meditation here. I'm saying is Naam Simran is also meditation.
So how do you do Naam Simran? Is that what I'm asking is it a specific activity that you have to be engaged in?
No, I don't know. Whatever Naam in Gurwadi means, that's all what I mean. How we become Gurumukh in a sense. Naam Japna, Guru Pali Pauri says Japo.
Well, I mean, then is Japna an activity? Is Japna an activity? A specific activity for which you have to isolate yourself to do? That's what I'm trying to raise.
No, dearest, isolation is not necessary. Whatever Naam Simran we say, whatever Naam Japna we call it, that's all.
So that's what I'm trying to get to the bottom of. Haji, let's give the others a chance here. Anji Ranaveer ji, do you want to?
Hanji.
Anji,
Uh,
you heard the. So I'm just trying to ask some
no,
simple
I
logical
think
questions.
yeah, and no, they're very insightful questions, and I think that's why we are sitting here to get exchange some ideas and try to probe these fundamental questions.
Hmm.
I struggle with a lot of these questions, and I have come to this conclusion that the reason we get into this difficulty because our approach, of course, rightly so, is a piecemeal approach. It's not a holistic approach. A holistic approach will come only to people, possibly like you, who's doing the whole translation of Guru Granth Sahib, to have the holistic picture of, because on one hand, Guru Sahib saying, Jiha, Bije Tiha Lune, and then Guru Sahib says that okay, everything has to be by his another, so he's responsible for doing whatever is happening to us. And then there's a thing about reincarnation, and then there's the word like karma. When you put all, and I try to create this paradigm for my own clarity, and I think there's nothing like spiritual pursuit or worldly pursuit. Is simply the pursuits.
Hmm.
Even if it's a worldly pursuit, the whole Gurmani's message is the worldly pursuit must be based on the elements of ethics, goodness, compassion, all these good things. So the Gurbani is saying that that's my understanding. Yes, you do these things and do in a way which are ethical and all those things. Don't stop doing it, but do not wait for the results. Hukam is out there. And in fact, yesterday night, I woke up and I was just debating this thing about hukam. Hukam is a divine law. It applies to everybody. If you do one thing today and I do the same thing today, the end result has to be same, but what we see, they don't come out to be same because the context or the extraneous factor within which you are operating might be influencing your cause, and mine might be different. That's why we're getting the different outcomes. But if they are the same, hukam is going to define the exactly the same outcomes.
Hanji.
So what I'm getting at is everything is under hukam, but what we are supposed to do is do the worldly pursuits with a spiritual lens overlaid on that, and don't wait for the outcomes.
Hanji. Hanji.
That's the way I
No,
think.
Hanji, much appreciated. And while you were talking, I was reminded of a pankti, which I will share before I go to Ekunkar, where Guru Nanak is offering the way, the puri jugat. Nanak Satgur Pet, ye puri hove jugat. And in here he goes on, I don't remember it all, but hasandiyan, kidandiyan, penandiyan, viche hove mukt. So the idea is that you are going to do what you're doing, and the jukti is to stay in the world but not be of it. So it's not that you have to do something very special, but it's how you're doing it, as Ranavirji said. Ekukarji, before I give this to you, you mentioned Nadri Karmi Daat, and you read Karmi as action. And I was wondering if Nadri and Karmi here don't mean the same thing, whether it is just poetic necessity or whether it is really Karam. Just a thought.
Well, I mean, this is where we all get into our interpretations, and I'm not here to force my interpretation on anybody.
No, I'm just asking. I was just wondering.
But I do think that I see that throughout Japji and throughout Gurbani, is that the Guru plays with the polarity of life. Like the line that, sorry, I'm gonna butcher this, but I'm gonna do this from memory here. The line that comes before that, or in that, I think same. Somewhere nearby is, ape bija he kao nana kukami. So first he's saying you reap what you sow, but we come and go and hook them, and it's like, well, the mind wants to say it's one or the other, and the Guru, I think, keeps trying to get the mind to hold clarity.
Yeah.
That it's both, and that nadari karmi dat is that same kind of polarity, like. Whether you're living through karma or you're living in grace, they're both the gift.
Yeah.
So don't get too attached, like right. Where you are.
Right. No, I see what you're saying. much appreciated. I think there is no either or. There is both in Gurbani. And as your mention of contentment, surrender, accepting is, I think, the key. Thank you very much for a very good discussion. I just want to throw the house open. I think I don't have any, I mean, I do, but I don't. I just want to throw it open to anyone who wants to express any last thoughts. I'll give them a minute each. Haji, let me just go. Haji, hold on. Let me just go through the list. It'll be easier. Ekunkarji, last thoughts.
It's just nice to be with you guys tonight. That's all.
Hey, nice to have you. Now keep coming.
Okay.
Haji Ranavirji, last thoughts?
Not really. I was reading the last two lines, and Nanak nirgun gun kare gunvantya gurde tiha koi na sujhi je tis gun koi kare. Am I interpreting that right? That nobody else can do what Guru Nanak Sahib is saying that he can do? This is what he's saying in the last line.
I'm sorry, say that again.
Tiha koi na sujhi je tis gun koi kare. Is Guru Nanak Sahib is saying that that if good virtues comes to us only through him, and nobody else can basically align us with these paths of good karma? Is that what
I
the
mean,
last
I
line?
read this. I read this as nobody can return the favor, but let's see what the others have to say. Satyendravirji, last thoughts. You have a minute.
Sir, I just want to understand that Vijay has said the meditation word. So to my mind, meditation consists of three words: Jap, Tap, Simran. So I like to understand. I don't understand very well what is Simran. What is Jap and what is Tap? If anyone can enlighten me with this word.
Can we just take it offline for a second, because I want to give the others a chance to finish their thought process.
Okay, right. No issue.
Anji, did I miss anybody here? Just basically, did you get a chance to offer your final thoughts? Okay, you probably did. Does anyone want to take a stab at what is Jap Tap? Ekunkarji, do you have time to, we have a few minutes left.
About
What is Jap, what is Tap?
Yeah, I'm going to give a real traditional answer to that.
Mm-hmm.
The Tap, so Tap is that fire that burns our inner karmas or our inner impurity, and Jap is the chanting, the recitation, and if we're doing the kirtan or the chanting in a traditional way, we're sitting up straight and we're chanting from the navel, and the navel is churning the energy and creating a fire, a heat within us that is then helping to burn out, the negative thoughts, burn out the sicknesses, burn out what we might say are like biochemical imprints that are causing disease in our body. So that's been my experience. Is the tapa? It's that inner fire, that inner fire that starts from the navel and it comes from the actual mechanism of doing the chanting.
Haji, thank you. Ranavirji, do you want to offer your thoughts in about a minute or less on Jap Tap?
Yes, I would. In fact, yesterday I was reading the Shabad, Ram Nam Karta Jag Fere Ram Na Paya Jai. Atul Agam Agochar Atwada. Okay. The whole thing is there are two stages for us. One is we have to prepare our mind. We have to before Naam can go into that one. And Naam, if you see the very first page of Guru Granth Sahib and the very last page of Guru Granth Sahib, the word Naam appears there. And then other day I was reading page 413 or so, and I got the answer there what Naam is in that Shabad. Naam is through Gurbani, that is the divine wisdom which resides in Gurbani. So now when I see people are Simran kar dene, I think the word Simran is they take one word and then repeat it over and over, that's fine. But that process is on the initial stage, which clarifies that prepare your panda, that gives that clarity in your mind. And once that process is complete, don't stop it there. If you do that, just doing you're just cleaning the panda, that's all what you're doing. But the second stage is what we are trying to do is try to understand the divine wisdom, so Naam can go into that one. So for me, Simran is fine. People do Simran, you repeat the one word. And Jap Tap is, yes, you're jumping the same thing. And Tap, I don't understand what it means, but that's the first stage. And the second stage is the Naam can go into the panda. That's how I feel about that. This is what I thinking yesterday night.
Hanji, thank you, Ji. I think I've gone through the list. Let me offer my little insight on what I think Jap Tap is, what it means to me. Jap is a lot of what both Ikunkarji and Ranavirji said to me, but I think it goes beyond simple repetition. It also means to reflect on, to contemplate, to absorb, to practice, to comprehend Naam, which is, as Ranavirji said, divine wisdom. Tap to me, now you see, tap comes from tapasya, which is what a lot of the yogis that Guru Nanak is really pointing at were doing to themselves. External ritual, places where you read about people lighting fire in the heat of the sun and trying to basically hurt their bodies. These were all considered taps. But in Sikhi, to my understanding, the real tap, the real struggle is to live in the world and accept, surrender to whatever comes your way. That is not to complain. That is to live in hukam is tap in Gurbani. Jap is, of course, understanding Gurbani, living Gurbani, practicing Gurbani, and the tap comes from total surrender and acceptance. That's my understanding. Have I missed anybody here?
This is Jasveer here. I think
Anji, you've got a minute.
Sorry. Once again, the question about Jap Tap. I think Jap Tap, Guru Sahib has just mentioned as metaphorically. It basically means the same thing. And questions of Nadar came up and I could not answer that. Nadar is only an internal experience, inner experience. Once you are Gurus na jode hoye ho, when Gurbani through our Naam Simran or as every time.
Yeah, but my question, I'm sorry to interrupt you again, but you use the word Guru na jude hoye. How are you jude hoye?
I mean, how Gurbani,
how are you
Gurbani
jude
na
hoye,
Gurbani? Gurbani ke naal judna is like Guru naal judna. Aur koi aisa to nahi. I'm using a generic word. I don't know how else to explain it. Gurbani ke naal jude, that's what we are doing today.
Okay,
I can consider
that clarifies it a little. Okay, very well. Go on.
Yeah, and Nadar is only an inner experience. Once you are with that state of mind, it automatically feels that you are being blessed. You go in a state of bliss, and that's what Nadar is. There's no such specific condition or a one-time event that somebody has to do that to you. So, like you said, it's like a process, and you feel that internally your own self. That's where I go there.
Thank you, Ji. Thank you very much. I think we have had a good discussion. I'm giving you back some time. We will meet next Wednesday. Thank you very much again. Waheguru Ji ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji ki Fateh.